begin our broadcast, planting has kept many folks busy throughout the state, but for others, the flooding from earlier this year makes that impossible. Fields have been given a chance to dry out, however, that's only the first step. Market Journal went on the road to Educator, Nebraska to learn what management options producers need to know to repair their fields and make them productive again. For Burt County Extension's John Wilson, the 2019 Nebraska flood was all too familiar. He was on this very field in 2011 to help farmers that were impacted when the Missouri River crested. This event is different than the one 8 years ago, but what was learned about how to bring a flooded field back into production is still relevant. It all boils down to 3 separate phases.
The first was to remove any debris, and we could have a number of different kinds of debris that we found in fields. After we had the debris removed, we needed to repair erosion. Depending on the depth of erosion, the process might be a little bit different. And finally, we had a whole group of other considerations that included compaction, getting a cover crop going to prevent wind erosion, and other factors.
When removing any debris that washed up on your field, John puts it into 2 categories, plant and other. If plant debris is just a few inches, that can be incorporated back into the field with normal tillage. However, if the debris is too thick and the land is zoned as agricultural, farmers have other options too.
If we spread it out, if we can get it dry, that burning is an option, and a lot of folks have burned corn stalks this year. If we have too deep of a layer of corn stalks, that we may have to burn it off once, let the next layer down, dry, and then burn it again.
Other debris, like tires, boards, and metal, must be taken to a landfill or buried. As for sediment, the depth of the sedimentation determines what you do next.
Maybe an inch or 2 up to about 8 inches, that we can incorporate that with normal tillage. The thing that we have to remember is however deep the sand is, that we want to till about 1.5 times that depth to incorporate it into the soil. We don't want to leave a layer in the field that's a completely different texture than the parent or native soil below that.
After the land is cleared, a farmer can decide how to manage soil erosion, which can range from a few inches to several feet.
In those deeper areas, a lot of times we would use sand and sediment that might have been deposited in other areas of the field, fill in those eroded areas to within about 3 feet of the surface of the soil, and then borrow topsoil from other areas in the field to finish filling in the eroded area. That'll help with when we get ready to plant crop back in the field.
A producer may also want to consider planting cover crops once conditions allow for it. Studies show cover crops may impact yields in some rotations and can reduce wind erosion.
The cover crops helped build back up the microorganism population in the soil, and probably the biggest benefit we saw was helping stabilize the sand and soil to prevent wind erosion. It also added some organic matter back to the soil.
And one more note about cover crops. John said studies in 2012 were done on the field where we conducted our interview. He said that research did show a significant yield increase, particularly with corn.